Hi guys, so today we're going to talk to you a little bit about sugar, what it does to your body, and sort of what we need to do with it, really. When my presentation works, um, we're going to look at sort of the first thing you kind of need to know about is there's a couple of different types of sugars. So there's naturally occurring sugars found in fruit, veg, dairy products, and then we've got kind of like added sugars or free sugars, which are sort of present in honey, fruit juices, syrups, or basically stuff that's been added to various foods to make it sort of taste sweeter or sort of preserve it for longer, things like that. Sugar is classed as a simple carbohydrate. So if you look at things like vegetables, for example, they're a complex carbohydrate, but because sugar is quite simple, it's broken down very, very quickly in the body and produces energy really quick. So think of it like when you have, you know, kids have a couple of bars of chocolate or whatever, they get really, really hyper. It's because they've got like a sudden burst of energy once they've eaten all that sugar. And that's kind of what your body does to it. So your body basically metabolizes sugar and turns it into glucose. And we don't really need to add more sugar to our diets generally. So, as it says there, our bodies metabolize all carbohydrate forms and convert them into glucose for energy. If we've got excess glucose in our bodies that we don't really need for the energy, a process begins to convert this into glycogen, which is stored in the form of glucose in the body. We are going to go touch a lot more on that in sort of future macronutrient modules, but that's kind of the depth that we're going to today. So what if we have too much or too little sugar? So obviously everyone enjoys a bit of sweet foods every now and again, and in moderation and balance, it's not that bad for you really. However, big blood sugar fluctuations can be dangerous, particularly if you're someone who's like diabetic or anything like that, or pre-diabetic. So insulin does play a huge role in the regulation of glucose. So insulin is the thing that controls your blood sugar levels, whether it mainly it's released when it needs to come down. And it's important to know sort of how that's going to feel and what that means for your body as well. So too little sugar in your blood can lead to what's called hypoglycemia, so very low blood sugar levels. And too much sugar in your blood risks hyperglycemia, and people who are diabetic will know all about that. So if your blood sugar levels go too high, they don't react the same with insulin, and the blood sugar levels keep going up, which can be very dangerous for your health. So insulin is sort of the thing that's going to control your blood sugar levels the most. It is a hormone, and it's mainly produced by it is only produced, sorry, by your pancreas. And it basically transports sugar, aka glucose, from your blood into the cells to be used as energy. If there's extra glucose and extra sugar sort of in your blood, extra energy, then insulin tells your muscles, your liver, to sort of store it there. When they're full, as in your muscles and your liver are full, and there's not more any sort of storage space in that, next area it's going to start to store that is your fat cells. So that's kind of how we, in a way, with your sugar, can start to store sort of fat mass as we go. Um, this sort of second paragraph here. So diabetes occurs when the body cannot use insulin properly or doesn't make enough insulin. So someone who's type 1 diabetic, generally born with it, the body can't make insulin, so it has to be injected to control blood glucose or blood sugar levels. Um, Over time, if we sort of abuse sugar, as it were, you're going to develop what's called insulin resistance. So, any of you who might be pre diabetic or verging on type 2 diabetes or have type 2 diabetes, you might be insulin resistant. And that's basically where the cells in your muscles, fats, and livers don't respond the same to insulin being released and can't easily take glucose or blood or sort of sugar from your blood. And again, this can be quite a large issue. Your doctors might talk to you about that and put you on various tablets to help control that. Type 2 diabetes, if we have that or we're pre-diabetic, your body's become resistant to the effects of insulin. Therefore, the body overproduces insulin. So basically pumps out way too much insulin to try and keep your blood sugar levels or glucose levels normal. And with this, after many years of overproduction, the insulin producing cells in your pancreas kind of burn out, stop working. And then basically you need tablets or a lot of the time, or you may actually end up on injections if we get to that point. However, type 2 diabetes generally can be helped and controlled with lifestyle changes and diet changes, but this has to be monitored quite closely. So if you are type 2 or type 1 diabetic, please do let us know. Hyperglycemia is a term used when there are high levels of sugar in the blood. This often occurs when the body, does not produce or use enough insulin. It's generally a indicator of diabetes. Hypoglycemia is a term given when there are lower amounts of sugar in the blood than normal. This can happen when the body produces too much insulin. Hypoglycemia can occur without diabetes in both children and adults. Contributing factors to this include other health issues, obesity, hereditary diabetes, certain types of stomach surgery, and being pre-diabetic as well. So why do we have so much sugar a lot of the time in our systems? The taste of something sweet. I think everybody likes a bit of chocolate or a sweet treat every now and again. So we often eat far too much sugar or sugary sweets. Sugar does release dopamine, which is related to the sort of the nice feeling in your brain. You know, you have a bar of chocolate, you go, "Ooh, that was good." The kind of like reward and motivation part of your brain, and it induces kind of that pleasant state. And even from kids, everyone's sort of, a kid's misbehaving a little bit, and you go, "Oh, we'll give them a little treat," and they perk up a bit, and they go, "Ooh, have an ice cream," like extra sugar here and there. We're all kind of programmed to have a bit too much sugar. However, sort of the repercussions of overindulging in sugar can be weight gain, increased blood sugar levels, heart disease long term if we don't look after it. And sugar's added into a lot of processed foods to make them more appetizing. So things that can stay on a shelf for forever, they tend to chuck loads of sugar in it, otherwise it tastes like crap. So it's added to foods because it gives them a lot more flavor, acts as a preservative, stops things fermenting or going off as quickly, can increase the amount of calories of food. So sometimes they'll chuck them in there to bump it up a bit and can kind of balance the acidity and the flavor of things quite well. So when we're looking at food labels, what are we looking for? Sugar can go by a lot of different names, and it's a bit of we'll try and make it sound less bad by naming it multiple different things. And as it says in that top one, sugar can go by a lot of varying different names depending on its source, how it's processed or manufactured. 56 types, last time it was checked, can be found. So this can make it very difficult to find out what you're actually eating, if you are reading an ingredients list. Anything with the O, S, and E at the end, so like fructose, maltose, dextrose, glucose, are all types of sugar. Cane juice or syrups, corn sweeteners, concentrated fruit juices, and I think most people know sort of honey, maple, sort of syrup type things tend to be quite sugary. So sugar in your body, in relation to sugar, your body is on a constant state of alert. So your body's constantly regulating your blood sugar levels and trying to keep it kind of even. Too high is bad, too low is bad, as we talked about before. And the more we just kind of chuck more and more sugar in, the more it kind of goes up and down quite radically, which makes sort of stabilizing your blood sugar levels a bit of a pain. Your body wants to keep everything a nice, even sort of equilibrium so that it's not too high, it's not too low, and you get a constant sort of flow of energy then. A good sort of way of thinking about that is, I bet we've all had a huge meal where we've gone out with the family or whatever. You had a 3-course meal, you have a big dessert, you get home and you think, "Oh God, I'm knackered now." And your blood sugar levels are really, really low. That's your body going, "Oh God, we've got too much sugar. Let's release loads of insulin," and your blood sugar levels drop. So we've all probably experienced it where we're super hyper after a lot of sugar and then have the crash afterwards as well.